Welcome back to Goldenridge. After a long break, we're finally back, and today we're creating a small mountain town unlike anything we've built in the series yet. So, let's get to work. Alright, welcome back to Reyes National Park that we put together last time. Real happy with how this has all gone. I did a little more detailing kind of around here. Nothing crazy though. I think for the most part, this is feeling pretty good. I'll poke around with some other stuff, and I don't know how full the lake got last time, but I think now that it is full, it's looking awesome. I think this view in particular is really nice. I mean, that's some national park, high mountain lake stuff. That's where you want to be. So really stoked on that. Today I want to swing around. Oh, and we're flooding. Okay. But today I want to swing over from Reyes National Park, past Cedar Butte here and over into this area. And I want to do a little bit of industrial, kind of not wilderness, but high mountain, rural, industrial, mining town stuff. Yep, you got all that, right? So I just want to kind of, so if this is kind of this town, I think that it kind of would have started from something up here. So we're pretty, this little area is awfully isolated. So I think we can find a way to get some stuff in here. Kind of getting a road in here is going to be interesting. We've been doing a lot of mountain roads lately, as I mentioned last time, and I think once we kind of get this in, now that we've got our park over here and our town here, I think we'll start to look back over in this direction. We haven't been into the city for a while, but yeah, I just want to kind of round out this area. I've had my eye on this since the very beginning, so that is something I wanted to do. So I think the first thing is let's just smooth a little bit of this out. And I think let's take a look at some of our industries here. The mining industry can be set up anywhere. However, I don't know. I mean, I guess we want this to be, you know, an actual active town. So, or an active kind of, you know, thing, not just kind of props. But the problem is that these things often look like when you draw in, let's do it backwards. When you draw in this kind of thing, I just feel like this thing ends up looking super weird. So I want to keep this fairly minimum and maybe just build a few of these with some smaller ones of these so that we can get some actual functioning mining stuff without just this weird looking texture taking up all this space. So let's get rid of this for the moment. And the space is actually a little smaller than I realized. Let's kind of find out where a road through there might be the best place rather than trying to kind of go up and over. So let's actually do that first. This is going to be a pretty small road. I think we'll once again use the 40-mile-an-hour national road here. We're going to get real close to the edge of the map. And let's just see what we can kind of get going here. So if we kind of come down into here and then around, and keeping these, boy, it's all steeper than it looks, I'll tell you. But 2% actually is not so bad. Okay, so we're not doing so bad after all. And that is not great though. 4% there. And there. So that gets us in. We'll clean some of that up, obviously. So let's take a little terraforming brush here and just kind of bring this out into a cliff that we can at least play with a little bit. Oh my, I kind of like, I mean, I'm into the cliff area, but I want to make sure that it's, you know, looking a little bit better than that. Kind of bring that in on the bottom there. And there, even that is doing a lot. So we kind of cut in so we can take some of this stuff out. There's another big one here that is way too much of a, you know, I got cut in a little too much here. So let's just kind of dial that back a little bit. That's going to be a big one nonetheless, but as long as you don't make it like one big thing, if it kind of has a couple of layers to it, I find that it looks a lot better. So kind of bringing this down in the middle here rather than kind of at the top, so that there's a little bit of cascading, even just like that. And then if you smooth that out, it'll look a lot better. So just kind of getting in there, trying to keep as much of this rock face texture as possible. So, I mean, the trees don't look great on it right now, but I think that looks a lot better. And then we can just kind of smooth, bring this out a little bit. And just kind of smooth that down so that that wasn't quite so just starkly sticking up. And yeah, that I think that works. I actually wonder if we should just come in through this way, and that this was, because we're really just going up to come down, but you know, kind of keeps it interesting. So then once we're in here, I'm actually going to back this up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get rid of a lot of the stuff that's in here. Just clear that out for ourselves. And then, okay, so let's get one kind of mining thing going on here. We're just going to keep this, like I said, fairly small. So there's one there, and we can kind of do another one here. And maybe we can kind of stick one more kind of back in here. This might even be like the best kind of place for one, the way that it's kind of tucked in there. I wonder if maybe we even get rid of this one, but we'll see. And then let's give ourselves like a little, so I do want to make this like kind of a little town. Kinda. So we'll go ahead and throw kind of a main street, for lack of a better term, and then we're just going to kind of build some roads off of that. This is all looking it's not very flat, so I think we're going to have to bring a bit of this down a little bit, and then bring some of the earth up to it. So let's just do a little bit of that and make sure that these are all, oh, there we go. And we can just kind of carve away a little bit here. And I really just, I mean, there'll be a little bit of stuff, but I want this to be pretty industrial up here. And that's kind of why, you know, this other town developed. There were some people living up here and working and whatever and getting this stuff up and running, but I really want to kind of, you know, have the implication that that other town spawned out of necessity from the work that was going up here, considering that this area is not super big, so they couldn't really build a town up in here, but the work was going on and they were producing all of the mining, and so they needed something to, you know, for people to actually have like a real town. So let's go ahead and get some industrial buildings in here. Clicking all the buttons other than the ones I want. So we're just gonna kind of throw some various stuff up in here. Can we get some of the bigger stuff maybe? Stuff like that, and then we will get. So I'm trying to think what kind of housing would make sense. Stuff like this. This is this Eastern European stuff, or sorry, this is the China stuff. But I want something really looking. I mean, that's not bad actually. That's kind of the right. You know, I just want these like weird little houses kind of tucked in a way. You know, we can even get this like, you know, if you think about these old mining towns, they just kind of had these, you know, it was a camp to begin with, right? So it didn't have all this, it didn't have, you know, much infrastructure. It just had little homes. No, those are looking a little too on the Chinese theme. So we definitely want level 1. Yeah, and just these little... No, I wonder, is that really the only... This might be the only one we end up using, which I think is okay. But I think maybe we will move this road... Oops. Back enough to get us, so these are 2 deep, so we'll just kind of throw that in there, and then we can get some other ones just kind of mixed in here. And we'll get a little bit of commercial, just very basic stuff. Let's start with, obviously, some fueling places I think will be pretty important. There'll be a lot of trucks coming kind of in and out here. And just a lot of industrial vehicles that'll want a lot of fuel. And then... I think we can go with, let's try the northeastern stuff since it's a little more kind of brick like that, you know. That actually looks pretty good. And then, all right, let's get some, they are freaking out here. So let's go ahead and, the power lines might actually be fun to run from the edge of the map. We don't do this a ton, but I think in this case, it's kind of fun. So let's kind of run these up and over the hill. And then kind of down, and we'll put get a transformer station right here. And so we can get that. This will help kind of with that real industrial look. Just get these big towers in here. And then for water and this stuff, I think... Yeah, I don't think it... So this is from that road that we made, the custom road. I feel like this doesn't actually work, it seems. So we are going to have to run our... Oops. We are going to have to run our own, which Oh, so we've got this line coming through, so let's just actually take it straight under the mountain. And that should be good for, there we go, water and power. Nice, so that does it. All right, so we've solved some services. Let's go ahead and connect this road up a little bit better here. Maybe to like that, and then that curve should work out a little more. There we go. And that's kind of in the direction I wanted. I wanted this to be real scarce and real industrial and real, you know, just old miney look, but something, you know, it's still going. So, all right, let's use an alleyway here to kind of connect. This, and I think this as well can get that going, and maybe kind of do something like that, and we can just run this road down there just to kind of have it somewhere for it to go. All right, so that's up and going. Now let's see. I guess we can just run this in. I know we kind of made a whole... Actually, you know what? Let's do this. This is a good opportunity for us to build a little bit of a... I was talked about having a road kind of going down this way, and maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't, but what we can do for now at least is run a bit of an overpass here for this connection. And then if we want, we can end up turning that into something that continues on. So let's see here. That is certainly up there. So let's see how exactly we want to connect this. So it looks like we're getting a little elevation from over there. So let's go ahead and bring this down quite a bit, actually. Make this... I kind of like that this is big, but I don't want it to be quite that big or tall. And then let's just kind of give ourselves a little something on this side to connect up here with. And we can just run this guy right onto there. Not sure why that's being... can we just convert that, please? For some reason, that's not wanting to be... Okay, let's make sure we get this being not elevated. There we go. All right, and since this is a little tall, and I think let's try something a little different. There's not going to be a ton of traffic here, so I'm not super worried about the flow. But I think maybe we just do a regular intersection here with kind of have an so this, if this keeps going straight, we'll say, right? And then let's just kind of get something kind of weaving its way down along this way. And come in right about there. So that'll just be, you know, it's not going to be the most direct way. It is an old kind of isolated, you know, town situation. So I think that's kind of fun to just do, not make it a big intersection thing and not make it a whole fancy thing, but just kind of something that will at least, get the traffic we need to get there, and it can just be kind of its own road. So this road I think is looking good. We probably can bring some. I was looking at this. Some of this can actually come up, I think, because I think we're losing quite a bit of elevation that I didn't quite realize before. So that's going to make this a lot less steep if we just go ahead and... where does that start to drop off? So there, I guess. So if we just kind of... that's maybe a little much. We can just bring this down a little bit, but not quite to where it was. And then just kind of fill in this with a little bit of ground so that it looks like it's sitting on something. There we go. So that's already gonna, I mean, that's still got some slope to it, but it's not quite as extreme. And then we should just be able to get rid of the trees here. There we go. Yeah, so that road's looking good. All right, so now that that's connected, look, we're already starting to get a little trash truck going on. Cool, so looks like we've already got, what is that? Is that also trash? No, that's we're actually getting some industry going. Sweet. So I think let's get some more, like, kind of go with some of these New England, or Northeast, I guess they are, apartment stuff. Kind of want, I guess some of these like old kind of row house looking things would probably feel like an interesting, and then some of, no, not those. Where are the these low, real low ones? Yeah. So just getting, some of this kind of old residential stuff in. And let's try and keep going with, we want to connect that exactly, but I think we are going to need a little more residential. Maybe we can tuck that over here. Just kind of move some of this out of the way. I kind of it's almost okay if this feels a little more carved out because of the mining situation, where this whole area would probably be kind of chopped up. In fact, let's actually lean into that a bit and create some of these kind of quarry, there's the word I'm looking for, kind of quarry-like levels that you see, just to kind of give this really that, I want this whole area to really feel like it's been highly manipulated by industry. And I think by doing some of this kind of stuff, like even just like that, I think is already doing a lot. So we're just going to kind of keep running this around where we can. We can flatten this out a bit here. And let's just kind of keep running this through. We'll get rid of these trees and stuff. So on this side, I think we can smooth that out. Yeah, see, that's already doing a little bit more to kind of make this feel a little more industrial and a little more kind of human, ruined by humans, as all the good landscapes are. Which is a funny thing to say after we literally just built a national park to make sure that landscapes are indeed preserved. So we'll just get all of that in. Can flatten that out a bit. So yeah, that's already, I think, given this much more of an industrial look. Looks like people are really flowing in to move in here. And I guess we'll need fire and police. Get police in there. Get a little fire thing in there. We're definitely going to need medical in a mining town where there's probably plenty of injuries. I think maybe we even densify this up a little bit now that we're looking at it. I think it'll be easier just to re-put them all down, then scoot all these things over. So let's go back to I think it was, no, let's just grab it with this guy. Yep. So we're just gonna put a bunch of these little houses in here. These were probably built maybe by even the mining company to, give the most basic of living, situation for the people that are working. Yeah, that looks better than the little sporadic nonsense I had going on. It was an interesting idea. I think maybe, like I said, it was a camp. It started as a camp, but I think having it have been a little more beefed up. It still looks very industrial. So I think that is good. Let's actually go ahead and let's get rid of this and let's move this guy to the other side. And I think we can get a little bit more housing in here. So just kind of say like that street, used to go through or whatever. But we should be able to get quite a bit more housing in there. And we can kind of bring this up and connect that to here and over, and probably get a few more, at least 2 in there. Yep. All right, I'm gonna go through now and just a little mix of detail, a little mix of cleaning some stuff up, and we'll see where we're at. All right, so there's still some more stuff here, but I think that is feeling good. We got a lot of nice grungy ground and filled in a lot of this stuff. Got a lot of trees kind of go around. I think I cleared out a little area here that I think we can put a little lake in, which would kind of explain why the road goes around like that. So I think let's try it and do that. I'm still scared of the water tools in this game, but I also do love water features. So I do want to get more lakes and stuff in. It's just, I'm just afraid it's gonna, I don't know, break everything. I feel like we did a good job on top of in the national park with that little lake area, but whoa, that got really steep there. Holy cow. Okay, let's bring, it's a good thing this game doesn't have like physics when it comes to the driving. It's okay if it's steep. Boy, is that steep. So I think we can, let's even bring some of this down a little, because it is also like even coming way down into town. So we can kind of add that guy as well. I think that will be a little better. I think this is the learning moment here is that the what's it called, the constant slope tool, I think, can kind of work against you sometimes by following, when you don't use it in the right time, by following the landscape a little too much when, you know, maybe it doesn't make as much sense to. So we just get rid of the stuff that's on. Oh, we got a bit of a node. We got probably 2 close nodes. Yep, let's bring that one. We can bring this down a bit, and that. And hopefully that will do it and give us a better area here for some water. And we'll just bring that up to give us like a nice even kind of lake edge. Okay, let's try to not flood everything. So maybe we'll go with right about like that one. And we'll see how that, we'll let that kind of cook for a second here. Try to get rid of some of these floating trees. And while that's filling up, let's get some trees into this neighborhood. I think let's actually go with a bit of a rather than too much grass. Let's kind of fill this in with dirt and just see if that feels kind of appropriately, I don't know, unwelcoming. You know, this isn't some luxury little town. This is like not the ideal place to live. So I almost feel like having that stuff all dirted up also will help it stand out a little bit from other places that we've built, but also just kind of give it its own kind of discomforting situation. So just kind of fill in with some trees. Yeah, I think that works pretty nicely. And the lake is filling up, so we can go ahead and line it with a little bit more trees along the side here. I almost feel like this is like an old quarry or dirt pit or something that they were, you know, that was part of what they had been doing in this town, and then it filled up with rainwater, or they they filled it up to, you know, for whatever reason. Yeah, I think that lake certainly is nice. I'm not sure if it's... Let's see, it looks like it's still... Yeah, still going up a little bit. I was going to say, it'd be nice if it was a little bit higher. But that's a nice... Now it feels like this road is a little more intentional. Like it kind of has to be here. Let's just kind of lower this down. I try to not have things look quite so carved. But I think that in this area, it actually makes a lot of sense because this whole thing has been very carved up by industry and all kinds of stuff. So I think that's actually working pretty well. All right, and then let's see, we're just gonna clean up some of this road stuff, this kind of road going out along the area here. I just wanna fix up a little bit and, oops, and just so that it looks like we put some thought into it and didn't just carve through this mountain quite so aggressively. Actually for here, let's clear out a bunch of these trees and just kind of fill this up with some rocks. I think would be kind of a fun look. Random rocks. I like to sink them down about 1 meter and then just kind of fill this with like a, I don't know, it's an old creek bed or just some reinforcement for when they built the road. Well, those are a little higher than it looked like they were. Whatever lore and history you want to make for yourself and for me and for this map and whatever. But yeah, I think that just kind of, maybe it's even just stuff coming down from little rock field coming down from the mountain here. So we'll just get a little bit more in there, and then we can get some bushes in here as well. I like to put those 2 down. And let's mix up with some bigger ones here. Just kind of help that feel a little more. Yeah, I mean, even that I think goes a long way. And then on the other side, we'll go with some surfaces. Just some kind of basic kind of dirt and rock bed stuff. Just kind of line that along here under these trees. That'll help. And then we'll throw some trees over that to just fill that in. Let's even go with the big brush here. Make that a little bigger and we can just get a bunch of trees in there, and I think that is doing pretty good. I also wanted to maybe go with some more trees up on this side of the wall here, and maybe even down here along this. Just really fill this all in as much as we can. I feel like these industry surfaces, this stuff just kind of feels like it really sticks out. So the more you can kind of get stuff in around it, I think the better it feels. But unfortunately, I do feel like these industry stuff are one of the more awkward aspects. All right, so then coming down through the road, the other thing I wanted to fix up over here was just kind of smoothing some of this out because this looks all weird from when we built it. I want there to be a bit of a cliff, but not all those weird kind of jagged things. So that's something like this, and let's fill that in a bit. And that looks okay, I think. And we'll smooth some of this out. Just bring this shelf out a bit up here to meet with one here. And we'll bring that out a bit. And then from there, let's turn our power down. I think if you kind of go along the ridge here, you can still maintain the cliff, but also have it looking a little more realistic without just smoothing everything out entirely. So I think that looks pretty good. And then let's fill that in with a ton of trees. Okay, so I think that already feels better now when you're kind of making this drive. You got this nice valley of trees here, kind of this little area you're coming through. Nice little mountain road. And coming up to and around the lake. And then let's just fill this little area in with some of this kind of rough grass surface. I think will do rather nice here. And just kind of take that down up into here. Yeah, that already feels pretty good. And then I guess we can get a little bit of the... I guess we should lay down maybe some of this dirt in the bottom of this here, although it's kind of cliffy, so it's not really have like a beach, except for on this left side where we really have this. So I think it's just... get this up like up in there. There we go. So yeah, I think that looks, let's I was gonna say this little hard line here isn't good, but we can get some bushes just kind of on that to hide a little bit of that. Just some of the stuff like this I think will be good. Just kind of blend this in. I think little rows of bushes, little tree lines and stuff, I think go a long way to just smooth that out. So that looks pretty good. And maybe fill in a little more over here. And yeah, I think this is all feeling pretty good. So I think the last thing we'll do, actually, let's fill in with some textures and some trees over here as well before I... but the last thing I do want to do is just take a look at our interchange that gets you to this town, and just make sure that that's feeling like it's got enough little detail stuff on it for the moment. So we'll just kind of get some stuff in here, and then we'll make this real small and try to get in around this little cul-de-sac. Leave space for our power lines. Let's bring this down. And around, probably can get some of this in here. Yeah, that already looks quite a bit better. Those we won't want. It's kind of where the power line is exactly. And just fill in here. So there we go. All right, that looks a lot better. All right, now let's zip over here. And trying to think kind of, maybe this becomes a little lake itself. I think these little mountain lakes, you know, like this and this, just kind of add a little bit of contrast and a little bit of color. And so that wasn't the plan for this area up until literally the second I said it, but now that's what we're gonna do. So let's dip down just a little bit here, maybe a little too much, and kind of flatten this out a bit. That'll kind of make this bridge up here feel nice. And we can bring this around. And like that a bit. And then let's get rid of all these trees and bushes in here. And it's kind of deep. I don't know if that's too deep for here. I don't know if it matters, but let's actually bring it up just a touch. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe like that might feel a little bit better. It's going to obviously get deeper on this side since the hill climbs up here, but I think that's okay. Make sure we have enough of a little bank here. And just kind of smooth some of this out a bit. And let's go ahead and raise this up, because otherwise, you know, this is only as deep as we're going to be able to make it, and it's going to look real shallow on the other end. So I think if we bring this up a bit, that'll let us get a little deeper here. And we'll grab this brush, and because right now we're really only, you know, this deep. So maybe we do want to go even a little bit higher. Like that, and then we can let, oh, that gets real steep, I guess. So let's kind of meet this with a little more gradual. All these cars are freaking out as the road underneath them is changing. And one more there should probably about do it. And then let's get rid of all these trees on the road here by putting in the wrong kind of road. Get the right road back in there. That should get most of that off of there. Yep. And then same here. There we go. All right, that's going to give us a bit of a deeper spot. So now let's just build our bank back a little bit. We could even make, actually, we could even make that a little bridge. Because now that goes down, so let's raise this all up a bit too. Might end up redrawing this road, as I've said many times before. Once you start messing with it, it kind of lose that nice flow that you get. Although that's actually not too bad. And we'll just get rid of trees. Good. All right, for now, we're just going to put water on, I think, on the one side. But maybe we can bring it through over to this side here. Little narrow thing here, and then make a little pond area on that side. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but we'll find out. All right, so water, constant level source. So we're going to need the water to be no higher than about here. So let's give that a try. This is always where things get a little worrisome, but let's see what happens. I'm going to speed the time up here, and we'll let this happen here. Okay, so you can see over here, first of all, the water is coming through the land, so that's certainly not something I anticipated. Let's go ahead and just build this out a little bit on this side. We'll flatten that out once we get it kind of there. And then let's grab this one and that one, and we'll raise those up a little and this one up a little. And then hit play again. And see if we can't make this a little deeper. Or is that really the same as there? I guess it is. So maybe we'll even go down then, just a touch. Just a couple to make this water a little darker, a little deeper. And kind of fill that out, and then we can smooth this out over here. All right, I think I'm gonna go back to regular speed here. I think that should be good, but again, that kind of gives this road a little more purpose, kind of like we did over here. So let's just go through and get some kind of trees and some rocks and some stuff in here to make this look a little better. Maybe we even do bring this down a bit on this side. A little shallow. So I kind of like the cliffs on both sides though, so I don't think we're going to smooth that out too much. And I do like the way this is really wrapped around. And we should probably make that a key wall, but for the moment I'm going to leave it until we're done landscaping so that we don't lose too much you know, dirt. I don't want to show too much road. I just want the railings is really all I want from the key wall. This is very interesting. This water coming through. Let's really try to avoid. That's really coming out though, isn't it? And over here too. So how is that water leaking through the ground? That's not great. Although maybe it makes us a little river here. Was not the plan though. Kind of cool though, I guess. If we lean into it. Let's try to. Where's that gonna go? That's really far. I just don't know why it's going through. There's always something in this game that you could not possibly explain. Let's see if we can collect this maybe in a little. If we kind of go down here a little bit and see if we can kind of collect this in a little pond down here. Let's bring this up so that it, in theory, does not go past that, but real interesting stuff. Okay, in the meantime, we'll get some trees up in here. Just nothing crazy. Just kind of what we've been doing. Trees up around there. And we'll get some trees over here. Kind of coming up along this. Get rid of that stuff. Yeah, it's really just leaking through. So I mean it is kind of, if it'll stay like that and end here and not keep going, it is actually kind of cool. Just don't understand why it's doing it. Let's see if we can smooth this out without letting too much more water through the ground, I guess. I don't know. Let's get some surface stuff going on up in here. Just kind of through here. And then let's get some rocks and some bushes in, and then I think that'll do it. Really hoping that this little stream creek thing doesn't become a big issue. Oh, and now it's going over the road. Okay, maybe I set these too high. So let's try to let's see. So from here, let's go down. I guess let's try it over here actually. So from here, let's go down to about there. And maybe we'll just have one. This at least does seem to be containing it, I think, but we definitely don't want water coming over the road, obviously. I always want to just do more with the water tools because adding water to stuff like this just makes it so much more interesting, but it always ends up that I did use the right lake. Okay, I did use the right one. I didn't use like a stream or something. We did use the constant, which should just kind of keep it at that level, but of course, nothing is that simple. So back to our rocks. And nothing crazy here. I just want to kind of have a little bit of detail along here. And I guess along our little riverbed, little stream bed over here that we totally planned on having. Although that is starting to fade away now with the lower water level, maybe? And then we'll get some bushes up in here too. Along this a bit, we'll get some surface in here in a second, a couple of taller trees, and that should probably round this out. I just wanted to add a little feature here. Get a couple more rocks just kind of here and there. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I know I was gone for a bit. I was out of town for a little bit. Just had a bunch of work stuff. I had 3 fantasy football drafts to take care of and be the commissioner of, because everybody totally needs to have 3 fantasy football leagues. But for some reason, I thought I did, and now I do. And it's going great. It's not. But yeah, I'm going to get back to more regular videos, and yeah, so yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and we will see everybody next time. Have a good one. Bye.